I'm going to say this, and then I ain't going to say nothing else. Let me tell you something. Stop letting people dim your light. Stop taking your value and turning it over to folk. Quit allowing folk to dictate your worth to you. You know you. You know who you are. You know what you bring to the table other than your wonderful self. But you know you. Why are you allowing folk, people that you in relationships with, to dictate to you? And we do it way too much. Go on interviews and do it. Let it go on 1 or 2 interviews, and the people say and don't get the job, and then you give up. Go on 1 or 2 business meetings and don't get the contract, and then you give up. Have 1 or 2 or a few relationships of fools, be in relationship with fools, and allow them to dictate to you who you are, how you are, your worth, your beauty, your what you stand for, all of that. And then here you go, you ready to give up. A lot of y'all saying that. I don't want no more relationship. I don't want this. I don't want that. And that's your choice. I understand, because sometimes people can beat you down so bad. I'm telling you, some people can work on your last nerve. They can beat you down so bad, not giving you what you need in the relationship. And let me tell you something. You know what you need in that relationship. And don't you dare turn that, don't you dare not acknowledge that. That's why a lot of people are in relationships miserable today. Because what they have done is they have allowed themselves to be silenced in what is important to them. No, ma'am. No, sir. Don't do it. Don't turn yourself over to folk and just give your whole, well, he ain't mean no harm by, well, I do need to change that. You're going to sit there and give up the things that's important to you. If you are somebody who got to be communicated with, you got to be talked to, you got to know how your person is feeling so that you can resolve issues. You got some people, they like to take stuff and sweep it under the couch, up under the rug. And I definitely can't live like that. But you got a lot of people who are like that. And if you're that type of person who can't deal with that, then that's a deal breaker for you. If you the type of person where you like to be intimate, you got to be able to recognize your love language and be able to let that, if your love languages are not met, and then if that's a deal breaker for you, that's a deal breaker for you. That's how you feel. Y'all got to stop turning yourselves over to folk just because you want to be with somebody and just because you want a relationship. And I understand. God knows I do. I do. And it's nothing like being able to flow well with somebody. Last person I was dating, he and I flowed very well together. I said that to him a lot. Okay? But let me tell you something. If you can't meet me where I need you to meet me, we don't have nothing. And that is what you need to make it very clear to people when it comes to you. Make it be very clear. If you're not the type of person like me, not the type of person, you ain't gonna, listen, let me tell you something. I ain't jumping in nobody's sack. I don't want to get to know nobody down below before I get to know them up here. I'm sorry. Because I know what I got. And I'm going to tell you something. Folk will stalk you. Folk will do you. If you're a good person and you know, you got it going on, folk will, let me tell you something. Folk crazy. Get to know these people well enough. You let that representative, let them do that little representative, and let that representative leave so that you get to know them for who they really are. You know, you might have to have that first disagreement. I ain't saying start nothing, but that disagreement gonna come. Because you need to know how that person is and with disagreements, how they handle disagreements. You need to understand how that person handle tough times. You know, you got to give yourself time so that if the relationship doesn't work, You can leave that relationship knowing that you didn't tie your soul with that person. Soul ties are real. Whoever came up with that and spoke on that, they told the truth. Soul ties are real. Know your worth, man. Don't listen. Stop allowing folk to dictate to you who you are. You know who you are. You don't need no help in knowing who you are. And if they can't meet your bottom line, if they don't know how not to cross that line you've drawn in the sand, if they can't respect your feelings, if they can't respect your needs, if they can't respect your desires, treat you the way you know you deserve to be treated and the way you desire to be treated, then they're not for you, baby. They're not for you. Sometimes God will protect us. Is all along we trying to hold on to something that God protecting us from. That God trying to protect us from. And we do it a lot. Oh, I don't want to, I'm getting up in age, so I want to make sure I just don't want to be alone and child, alone and miserable. It's worse being with someone and miserable than being alone and miserable. At least if I'm alone and miserable, I'm alone and miserable. But if I'm with somebody and I'm miserable, that's a whole nother. Let me tell you, that's adding on to being alone and miserable. Y'all stop giving away your power to folk. Letting folk break you down like you a doggone shotgun that they got to clean. No, baby. You got to be able to stand up stand up for yourself, for who you know you are, for what you believe. No matter what's gonna come, you got to be able to stand up for what you believe. And if you believe in anything or anybody, you sure need to be believing in yourself. You sure need to be knowing your worth. You sure need to know your power. You sure need to know what you bring to the table. And as a matter of fact, you bring to the table you. That's custom made all by itself. That's good all by itself. Because you bringing you to the table. And you know you. And you know your worth. Stop doing it. Stop giving these folk all of you. And then by the time it's time to get you back, you ain't got none of you left. Then you got to rebuild yourself. Then you gotta put yourself together. Then you're gonna sit there and question yourself and question what you got and question who you are. No, ma'am. No, sir. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want me. I don't want you. I ain't good enough for you. You ain't good enough for me. That's how that go right there. I'll get over it. All it takes is a little time. And I'll be just fine. Have an amazing day.